Welcome to the SCIA Engineer webinar about the engineering report. My name is Irka Schepers and I work since 2012 as customer service engineer for SCIA. First of all, it is important to explain how a webinar works. Please check your sound settings by pressing on this button. If you would have any questions, you can insert them in this window and I will respond to them after the webinar. This webinar is recorded, so you can watch them afterwards on our website or on YouTube. First of all, I'll give a short introduction about the engineering report. Next, I explain what you can do in the manager. I will show the properties and the features of the engineering report. Also, I will show you which report items do exist in the engineering report and which kind of tables and pictures you can insert. Finally, I will show you the possibilities of the printing and the exports, and I'll explain you some tips and tricks. The engineering report is an easy tool to create reports efficiently. It can contain document tables or pictures. The document tables can be with results or without results, and the pictures, they can be live, screenshot pictures, pictures from the gallery, or pictures from external programs. As a user, it is also possible to insert some formatted text. The Engineering Report Manager allows for basic management of reports. It is possible to create a new report, delete an existing report, or copy an existing report. Existing reports are listed in the left part in the picture. On the right side, there is a preview of the selected report. The validity status is an important feature of the engineering report. It is the indication of validity of the content of report items. It means that the user is always clearly informed whether the information in the table or picture is up to date or not. The validity status is indicated in the navigator panel and also in the report preview. You have three kinds of statuses. Invalid means you have a not up-to-date report item. It indicates that the information displayed in the report preview and related to this report item does not reflect the current status of the project. This status is indicated by a red exclamation mark. The waiting for regeneration means that this report item is waiting in the queue for regeneration or is just being regenerated. This status is indicated by a green color of the icon in the navigator and the green exclamation mark in the report preview. Valid means you have an up-to-date report item. It indicates that the information displayed in the report preview and related to this report item does reflect the current status of the project. This status has no special indication, so you can just see the tables in the preview. All report items which are inserted in the report can be hidden, and some of the report items can be locked. Hiding and locking is controlled by icons, the eye and the lock, on the navigator. Hidden items are still present in the data of the report, but they are not displayed in the report preview. Those items are also by default skipped during regeneration of the whole report. Locked report items are excluded from the regeneration. It means that their content, which is displayed in the report preview, is fixed. There are different kinds of types of regeneration of report items in the engineering report. The automatic regeneration is done by the system and it is implemented for items with a very fast update of its content. It is implemented for the table of contents and for formatted text. The regenerate selected ensures that all report items which are selected in the navigator are regenerated regardless their validity status. This regeneration can be started from the ribbon or from the floating button at the navigator. Locked report items are not regenerated even if they are included in the selection. Regenerate outdated starts the regeneration of all necessary report items to make the report valid. It means that there are regenerated items which are invalid and which are not hidden or locked. The behavior can be modified in the drop-down menu, as you can see in the picture. The regeneration of reports can also be started from the Report Manager since version 15. Pressing this button starts the regeneration of all selected reports. All regenerated data are stored and available immediately after opening of the report. In the dialog of batch analysis, it is possible to select some of the existing reports to be regenerated at the end of the analysis. This possibility enables to run the finite element analysis and regeneration of selected reports in one step. Chapter Maker enables easy automatic generation of chapters according to logical links between tables or pictures. The definition of Chapter Maker consists of a master table and a slave intended tables or pictures. For each record in a master table, one chapter containing slave tables or pictures is generated. There are several types of logical references supported. There are all different kinds of report items which you can add in the engineering report. The style is one of the special report items which can be inserted into the navigator and which can change the style of the report. The visual style represents mainly the font, colors and thickness of table lines, and setting of 2D result legends. Header footer is a predefined report item which can change layout of pages following this report item. It uses project data from the project, so it can display the same properties which are displayed in the table of project data. Table of contents is a report item which produces the table of contents of the report. It is displayed immediately after inserting into the report. Since version 15, it is possible to scroll to a specific report item by pressing Ctrl key plus clicking on some line in the table of contents. The report preview will scroll to the position of the chapter. Page break is a report item which ensures that next report item starts on an empty page. Page format is a report item which enables to change the format of the report paper in the middle of the report. The user can select from predefined standard sizes and can decide about the paper orientation. He can also specify his own paper size. The chapter is an item which enables to structuralize the report into chapters. There can be more levels of chapters. Items must be indented under the chapter item to be included in this chapter. There are two types of watermarks available in the engineering report. You have the hard-coded watermark, which is used for the student version or tryout version, or you have also a user-defined watermark. The user can insert formatted text in the engineer report, so the text can be inserted by typing or using the clipboard function. It is possible to type multiple rows, and the user can also see a formatted preview of the text. External pictures are report items enabling to insert pictures from external programs into the engineering report, and there are supported many standard picture formats. Pictures can be inserted as a link to a file on the hard drive or as embedded. The content of each report can be exported to a DDS file. Since version 15, it is possible to insert those files into another report. This way, it is possible to compose one report from several smaller ones, even from different projects. Since version 15, it is possible to insert new report items, which enable to display the content of a TXT file stored on the hard drive. EC-Tools is a design software for reinforced concrete and unreinforced masonry structures and can utilize the analysis results of SCIA Engineer. Since version 15, it is possible to easily insert outputs from EC-Tools in the engineering report. Since version 14, it is possible to simplify the creation of reports using templates. There are several templates prepared by SCIA. However, the user can also prepare his own set of templates. Since version 14, it is also possible to insert SCIA design form sheets directly in the engineering report. Output from those calculation sheets is then part of the report. Tables are the basic parts of the document. Tables can contain information about the project, different settings, and results of FEM analysis designs or checks. Nearly all information from the project can be displayed in the document as a table. There are two basic types of tables available: result tables and non-result tables. Non-result tables display information about the project. Result tables are tables which show results of some calculation. Result tables have the same properties as non-result tables plus properties of the result that the table is displaying. Those result properties are the same as are available when displaying the result in SCIA Engineer. By report pictures are meant pictures displaying the model or results and which are inserted from the SCIA Engineer model. There are different kind of types available. Live pictures can be regenerated in order to display the current status of the project. Screenshots work as a screenshot of the 3D window and cannot be regenerated afterwards to display the current status of the project. Gallery pictures are reflections of pictures from the picture gallery. Those pictures can be edited in the picture gallery only. They cannot be edited from the engineer report. The engineer report can be printed or exported to various external formats. Printing and exports can be started from the backstage view. Next, there exist also some useful features of the engineer report which can help to improve the efficiency of the preparation of reports, like finer zooming, automatic joining of several reports, inserting data, calculation or drawings from external programs, external picture as external references, fast picture preview, fast table preview, having results from more variants of the model in one report, copy-paste between reports, reducing size of ESA file by cleaning report presentation data, and so on. These you can find also in our online help. I will now show you an example in SCIA Engineer. This is an example project in SCIA Engineer where I can open the engineering report. When you open the engineer report, on the left side you can see Navigator, where you will see the contents of the engineer report. A branch with new items. Here you can choose which items you will insert in the engineer report. Here you can see the preview when you have inserted the items. And here you can see a property window, the same as is used in SCIA Engineer. Now you can see the properties of the report. When something is selected, you can see the properties of the selected item. Here you can see the task window, so when the engineer report is regenerating something, you can see it here. When you would be missing some view, you can activate it over here, like for example this view, the insert tree, you can activate it here, or on the second tab view, you can also select the windows of properties navigator of task. Now I'm going to make a report, so I'm going to add some special items. I'm going to begin with header footer. Just double click and it's inserted in the engineer report. If you want to edit it, you just select it here in the navigator and you click here on edit. In this window you can also see a preview and you can select which kind of item you want to edit, the header, footer or the page frame. You can switch on or off some margins and you can select which properties you want to add in the table. So now you have a table with part, author, date, a table with national code, national annex license name, license number, a table with version, a picture with the logo, and a table with project. So here you can see all the different tables with the properties which are added. All these tables can have a certain position and a certain font. So here you can change the position and the fonts. And here you can see all the available items which you can add in those tables. As user, you can add some tables with some properties, add pictures, add some text, or delete some things. For example, I can change here the font size of this table. So, and you see directly it changed in the preview. This is for the header. I can also switch to footer. There you can see there's only the property page number which is shown in the middle of the footer. I can add some text, for example. SCIA. Okay. then you will have some formatted text which is appearing here in the preview. You can change position, for example, alignment right, and I pick the right of the screen, so at a relative distance of 1. And I set, for example, in bold. So it is that simple to change something in header or footer. I click on OK, and you can see immediately the changes. Next, I'm going to insert a table of contents, a page break. So my chapter is beginning on the next page. The first chapter is a chapter where I can show all the data. So I change the name of that chapter. And I can insert some items in that chapter. For example, project. When I scroll to that item, you can see that it's added immediately. You can see that this is a separate chapter, so I have to indent this table. So I select it, and I can choose over here indent. Then you can see there's a renumbering. Instead of tables, I can also insert a picture. So for example, when I go to SCIA Engineer, I can send this picture to my engineering report. I go to the options of the picture, and here you can see you have different kind of options. You can choose to have a screenshot into the engineering report, live picture, or picture to gallery, where you can edit and then send it to the engineering report. I'm going to take a live picture into engineering report, and then there is opening a window with some properties. Here you can change some properties, or you have some relative sizes which you can choose. And when you change some properties, you can save it as predefined options. For example, I'm gonna save it in some kind of position 2. And in another picture, I can choose this property again. Then I can insert this picture or directly in the selected report, or first into an inbox. I'm going to insert it directly into the report. When I go to the report, you see immediately the picture. I'm also going to indent this picture, so you have a renumbering. And I'm also going to select the option Export to PDF as 3D. When you select this option, in the PDF, you can see this picture as a 3D, so you can rotate it and make a zoom. Also, it is possible to change the properties over here. Next, I'm going to insert some other items, like for example the materials which are used in the project and the cross sections. Now you will have a table with material, steel and concrete, and one with all of the cross section. It is also possible to indent a cross section under the table of materials. So when I indent it and I regenerate it, because you can see the red exclamation mark, you will see that we have first a table of steel. Next you can see the cross sections which are made of steel, and then you can see the material concrete and the cross sections which are made of the material concrete. So this is an example of a link between tables. To have it nice on one page, I'm gonna also insert here a page break, like this. Then we have a material steel. You can see that I have some explanation of symbols here, but as user I don't want to see them. So you can select the table of cross sections and you pick edit. Here you can edit tables, and here you have an option, so show explanation and symbols. I'm going to deselect this option. Okay. We have to regenerate this table, and then you will see we have material steel with the cross sections without the explanation, and next material concrete with the cross sections. Next I'm going to insert a page break on the same level, and then I can add a picture with the name of the cross sections, for example. So I'm not going to render the structure, and then I'm going to select some of the profiles which are used, like for example this, this and this. Then for the selected items, I'm going to show some labels. So going to the setup dialog to view all of the options, and I'm going to display not a name but a cross-section type like this. Okay, and you can see for the selected items I can now see the name clearly. You can also send this to the engineer report with a right click with your mouse. You can choose here live picture into engineer report. I'm going to take the same property too, and I'm going to insert it immediately in the engineer report. You can see this picture is inserted and goes to indented also on the same level. Now I want a new chapter, so I insert first a page break, and next I'm going to insert a chapter. I'm going to do it on the outer level, so I'm going to outend the chapter, and this chapter I'm going to show the geometry. In the geometry I can show some nodes, the used members, 2D members, and for example the nodal supports and 2D member supports. Then I'm going to indent them under the chapter, so I can select them all, and with the mouse I can just drag them upon this chapter. Afterwards I can see the tables of the nodes, members, 2D members and nodal supports. You can also change those tables. So for example, when I select the table of 2D member and I click on edit, you can here choose which columns you want to see or not. For example, I see the last one is empty, so I'm going to delete it. And for example, the layer, I don't want to see it, so I'm also going to delete it. When you click on OK, you can see the changes immediately in the report. Afterwards, I can also choose to have some pictures of the geometry. When clicking on the right mouse button, I can set the view parameters for all, and I display the label for the names but not for the cross-section type. I will also do this for the slab member, so I'm going to also display the label. When I click OK, you will see that everything is shown here, but you can divide it in multiple pictures. For example, when you use activity, like this, only the selected part is now visible. So I can send this picture to the engineer report with the right click mouse button and for example like a screenshot. So in this case, when I send a screenshot into the engineer report, it will not change. Insert and close. I can also do this for the other part of the structure. So when I'm going to tools, activity, invert to current activity, you can see this part, and I'm also going to send it as a screenshot into the engineer report. Insert and close. When I go to the engineer report, you can see those two pictures are now added. In this case, the names are not really visible, so you can select the picture and I go to the Edit Picture Properties. Here I can choose to have the text scale factor a little bit smaller, for example 0.5. Okay. And you can see that the text is more clear now. I can also do it for this picture. Edit Picture Properties. 0.5. Okay. I'm also going to indent those pictures, so I select them and choose indent. Now we have already some nice structure of report. You can see it in the table of contents that you already have a nice report. You can also change the table of contents. Now for example, you can see that we see all the levels of chapters. Now it is also possible to deselect this option and to say I only want to have 2 levels. When you want to go to a certain chapter, it's very easy to use a table of contents. I just have to press the Control button, and with the left mouse click I can go directly to that table. Then going to insert the next chapter, so I go to Special Items, Chapter, and in this chapter we will show the loads. I also forgot to add a page break at the beginning of my chapter, like this. In the chapter, I'm going to add some load cases. Now it's also possible, when you select here the item, you can also choose to add it directly under the chapter, so to have it indented immediately, like this. Here you can see a table with all of the load cases. Now I'm going to insert a picture of the engineer report with the load cases. So I'm going to lose the activities, and here you can see the whole structure. I'm also going to uncheck the labels. Okay. And I'm going to show the load in the project. This picture I sent to the engineer report. Now it's very important to have a live picture. We're going to indent the picture under the load cases, so it will also find some certain link, and therefore you will need to have a live picture. I'm going to indent it under load cases and see what happens when regenerating this table. You can see the pictures as now regenerated. So you have the load case 1. You can see no loads because this is a self weight. The second, you can see some loads here, here, other loads. So here you can see obviously that the loads are now shown for each load case. When taking a look at the picture, you can see that each picture will have some caption. This is just the title, which is shown in SCIA Engineer. So for all images, they are the same. As a user, you can choose here to deactivate the caption. You have to regenerate the tables, like this. And you can see that the picture is now placed directly under the table, so now it's obvious which picture belongs to which load case. To have the structure more obvious, I can also insert here a page break and indent it under load cases. After regenerating, you will see that now each load case with each picture is beginning on another page. You can also insert some table of loads. So when I go to loads, I can say I want to have some point force and node shown, line force and surface load. When regenerating this table, you will see also that the tables of the loads are now regenerated for each load case. So in this load case, you can see that there are some point forces and line forces, surface loads. In the next load case, you can see line forces and surface loads, so there are no point forces. You can also insert combinations, so there are some combinations made in the project. As you can see, I'm going to also indent it under the chapter of loads. And when I go to the combinations, you can see that there's a combination ULS and SLS are made. Here you can see the input of combinations, but in the filter you can also say I want to see the contents of combinations. In that case, after regenerating, you will see the real coefficients which are used in the combination. Then I'm going to insert a page break and a new chapter. And the next chapter is 1D results. Here you can do exactly the same as we have done, for example, the loads. You can insert some kind of result and then you can indent some picture of results, and the report will generate all of the results and the picture which are belonging to the right result. In the report it's also possible to add some templates. Here you can see report templates, system templates, and here you can find the templates which SCIA already had made. For example, I can insert here the 1D internal forces. I'm going to indent the template under my chapter. In this template you can see that result classes are added and the table of the internal forces of 1D members. Afterwards you can see the pictures which are now regenerated for our project with the normal force, the shear force and the moments. After these results, I'm going to add also the combination key. In the combination key, you can see which are the contents of combinations. So here you can see the number of the combination with the contents of combination. The numbers are referring to the table which is used in the results. Here you can see the combinations which is used, ULS / the number which you can find in the combination key. Afterwards, I'm going to add a page break and a new chapter. And in this chapter, I'm going to show the 2D results. Now I'm going to pick a template for the 2D results. For example, the 2D displacements. I'm going to indent it directly under my chapter. As you can see, the table of the displacements is added with the pictures. Not only it is possible to add results, it's also possible to add some results from the steel menu and the concrete menu. In the new items, I go to steel and here I'm going to add the check of steel. When I regenerate this table, it will be regenerated with those properties. So now you can see a table, a brief table, for the load case self-weight. It's also possible to change it over here, so I choose a combination. And I want a detailed output. I don't want a detailed output of all of the members, but in particular one member, for example. In the selection, you can add a list. In this list, you can make a selection of members where you want to see the detailed output of the steel check. I pick, for example, one member. I add it to the list. OK. And when I now regenerate the table, you will see detailed output for only this member I have chosen. So here you can see the steel check as it is in SCIA Engineer. Then I can also add some results of concrete. I pick concrete, 2D member, member design, and I add this table. When I regenerate the table, it works exactly the same, so it followed the properties which are shown here. Here I can also change the type of loads, so I can pick a combination. And I want, for example, the detailed output, and I regenerate the table. Now my report is finished, and I want to export it to a PDF. I go to this button, in the left upper corner, and here you can choose if you want to print it or export it. Here I choose to export it to PDF. I click on this button, Export PDF. I will export it to my desktop. Save. And here you can see the exported PDF. You can see nice contents. The picture which was added. Don't forget, we had checked the option 3D PDF. So now we can turn around our model and we can zoom in on specific parts. So this is a very interesting option when you want to send something to a client. The materials with the cross sections. The picture with the dot cross sections and the geometry, the nodes, members, 2D members with the supports, and also some pictures of the name of the members. Here you can see the different loads. The combinations and the results. The 1D results, the internal forces, the combination key, the 2D results, the steel check, and the 2D member design. So here you can see that you can make a really nice report on a relative short time. I'm going to close the PDF and going to show you some other options. In this window, you can also save this as a template. So as a user, you can reuse your template for different kind of projects. You can give it a name and next you can store it. Afterwards, you can just select it here in the report templates as a user template. It is also possible to select it afterwards. So, when you would make a new report, when I click here on the icon of the engineer report, it will first open in the manager. So here you can make a new report, which is empty at this moment. And when clicking on this button, you can choose here New from Template, and here you can see also all of the available templates. You can choose from SCIA templates or the user template which you have already saved. When I go back to home, I'm going to reopen my report. I want to show you it's also possible to have some part copy it to another report. So for example, I'm going to copy these items to a new report. you can just use the clipboard. So Ctrl C for copying it. Next, I open a second report, and here you can click Ctrl V. Now I'm doing this in the same project, but this is also possible when you go into another project. The report will just regenerate all of those tables and pictures for the new project. Keep in mind that screenshot pictures stay the same, so they're not changing in a way. I can prove this by changing it in the structure. For example, when I go to SCIA Engineer, I can say I want to delete this part of the structure. When going to the engineering report, I can now regenerate my report, and you will see that nothing happens in the screenshot pictures. But in the other pictures, which I had in the beginning, you will see that the live pictures are regenerated and the changes are taken into account. Further, I will take a look at other special items. You can change the style of your report by inserting this option, Style, and you can edit it by going to the button Edit. Here you can change the style of the content of your report. So for each kind of text, you can change the font. For each kind of table, you can also change the colors of the table and the fonts. For example, for my chapters on level 1, I can choose another font size and, for example, another color. You can see the changes immediately in the preview. I can do the same for table cells. For example, the header, I want to have another color, maybe some lighter one like this. The columns, also another color. When I click OK, the changes are taken immediately into account. Note that the changes are taken into account on the moment that this item is inserted, so the style is now going to be taken into account from this place. If you want to have this style for your whole document, you have to place it on top, where you can see the changes now. This works for all the special items, so also for your header footer. When you insert it not on top of the document, it will not start on the first page. I can also do this, for example, for the page format. I insert it, for example, here. And I don't want a portrait but landscape. You can see the changes are happening on the moment the page format is inserted. You can do this, for example, for one picture. And afterwards, you can insert a new page format with again portrait style. Now I'm going to delete the page formats. Okay. You don't really have to delete some things. It's also possible to make them non-visible. So for example, when you want to have the style is not taken into account in this report, you can just select this icon and you can see the style is back like it used to be. You can also deselect the header footer, and the header footer is gone now. So that's also really easy when you make use of templates. You just deselect the tables you don't want to see. It is also possible to add some formatted text in the report. You just double click on formatted text, and then you can choose to edit the text. Here you can insert some text and you can see immediately the preview. When you click on OK, the text is added. You can choose to deactivate the caption, so you can just see your text. You can choose an alignment. You can choose which font is used, which is used for the style, or you can define it yourself. As you can see, there are a lot of possibilities in the report. It is very user-friendly, and in a short amount of time you can create really nice reports. I want to thank you all for attending this webinar. You can find more information on our website, and make sure to take a look in our online help to find more information about the engineering report and the improvements of each version.